Hello, people on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram page. Once again, on this Saturday, April 15th, 2023, I want to make this point that Democrats must in their messaging, uh, talk about the fact that the Republican Party does not care in general about children once they are born. Okay? Once they are born. That means common sense gun legislation. That means food programs. That means free state college education. That means loan forgiveness. That for students, all students, regardless of what their economic background is. That means we can go on and on and on. Okay, so
that most of those are, they're all red states. Where sadly, it's also the concentration.
God wants everyone, Christ wants everyone to have a wonderful, fantastic life here on earth. The second half of John 10:10, it says, I have come that they may have life and more abundantly, to the highest, to the best, more abundantly, to the fullest, more abundantly, excellently, all people, everywhere, every place. That's
that
Christ.
Most of those are, they're all red states. Where sadly, it's also the concentration of the poorest Americans in this country, to your point. What implications?
Democrats need to point out, and go to the forpeoplescampaign.org. Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II and Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, the co-chairs, go to the poor folks audit, right? And you'll find that there are 66 million poor or lower wealth white Americans. 66 million poor or low wealth white Americans. 140 million poor or low wealth people in general. Back in the 19th century, according to Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr., this is a speech from March 25th, 1965. He said that black men and white men voted together in fusion coalitions immediately after slavery, right? 15th Amendment gave black men the right to vote for a short period of time. Black men and white men voted together in fusion coalitions, not concerned about the color of skin, but they voted economics. How they stopped that? Southern strategy, which they still use today, and segregation. But they were able to pass, right, Senator Charles Sumner's bill, the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which says what? Treat everyone equally. Yeah. Signed what? March 1st, 1875? Supreme Court gutted it in 1883. And then the next one, real one, July 2nd, 1964, signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson. Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr. in his Stanford University speech said the 64 Civil Rights Act was weaker than the 1875 Act. Point is that you must continually reach out, and you came on different ships. We're all the same boat together. Please use Senator, not Senator yet, but State Representative Justin J. Pearson and State Representative Justin Jones, how they articulate the issue so clearly and the needs so clearly. Common sense gun legislation, Medicare for all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly articulate. We're all in this together. One race, human race, all human.
Do you think that this abortion ban will have on a larger political narrative? We saw that Ron DeSantis, at the dead of night, decided to sign this anti-abortion 6-week ban. But we also know that the majority of Americans do not believe in the 6-week ban and are closer to a 15-week ban. So, what political implications do you think that will have on these ruby red states, where again they're the ones that need access to health care? One could argue the most because of the rates of poverty that you see there.
Sure, the reality is that people are going to be criminalized, and abortions, for the most part, are illegal or will be illegal. It's taken away a person's individual personal decisions on how they want to handle their own health care. These decisions place government, judges, elected officials in the middle of such important personal medical decisions. So it's taking away.
This is Congresswoman Barbara Lee.
And abortions.
And State Representative Justin Jones was her intern. Okay? He was her intern out there in California. And then he went back to Tennessee. She is presently running a candidate for the United States Senate, coming from from California, and there are no black female United States senators at this time, and there's only be a few in history.
For the most part, are illegal or will be illegal. It's taken away a person's individual personal decisions on how they want to handle their own health care. These decisions place government, judges, elected officials in the middle of such important personal medical decisions. So it's taking away reproductive freedoms, which once again is one step toward the radical right wing of this country trying to establish a national abortion ban. This is fundamentally undemocratic, and it's wrong, and it's disproportionately impacting Black and brown people, low-income people, people who live below the poverty line in red states. And it's very dangerous what is taking place. This is a crisis. It's a public health crisis.
Let's go a little bit more, because I think oftentimes we see what the Republicans are doing in a silo, but when you string everything together, when we're talking about preventing people from access to abortion care, when you see these individuals also trying to prevent access to the voting booth in these same states that we outlined, you see book banning, you see them basically trying to promote not gun safety but gun exploitation for the most part. What do you think of this idea of the Republicans, where in silos it seems innocuous, but together it's clearly an agenda that prevents people from exercising their democratic freedoms?
That's exactly it. Also, they're trying to prevent